Back, good people, to another episode of Investors Playbook. As always, you have your co-hosts Deshaun and Cornell. Man, today we got a lot of stuff to talk about. It has been a crazy week so far. So we're just gonna get right into it, run through some of the things that have happened just this week alone, right? So to start things off, Cornell, we gotta talk about what happened last Friday. Like the argument between Donald Trump and uh, Zelensky.
Yeah.
Because yeah, this that was a bit. I don't know if you watched it, right? That was kind of difficult to watch. Yeah, man, it's like I, I don't know what is happening, right? The U.S. has been giving money to Ukraine for at least 3 years now, since the start of this, right? I mean, well before that, but since this attack from Russia has happened, the U.S. has given upwards of $69 billion in support to Ukraine, and now I don't really know what's going to happen. Right? What comes of this disagreement between Donald Trump and Zelensky? What are your thoughts, bro?
So it's really an unfortunate situation, and the way I look at it, I think of it in a few different ways. I do think that the conversation was a little immature, especially with these being leaders of countries. I feel like I feel like he was the president of Ukraine was baited a little bit because if you see some of these clips, they're talking about his clothes and him not coming in with a suit and stuff like that. Who cares? Who cares about what this man is wearing? And you hear people in the background laughing like this is like he's being bullied in high school. That right there signals to me that the maturity level of some of these people in the Oval Office is not there. This is something that I would expect from kids. So, but also, no matter what's going on when it comes to the president of Ukraine, he needs to learn how to just be quiet and just keep it moving because he fell right into the trap that they set for him. And when you're dealing, it's not like they're helping him out in a video game or something. Like people are losing their lives. He is in need of US support. We've been supporting them with their military for an extended amount of time at this point. Why would you do anything to fracture this relationship? So,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's difficult because there's like a well, I don't know about a thin line, but there's a line between I appreciate your help and you're not just about to disrespect me in front of all these people. So I understand the don't bite the hand that feeds you sentiment, but it's like, so what do you do? Just like sit when he says sit, or you just like now? I mean, essentially, yeah. What happens with that, right? Like, do you just allow yourself to be ridiculed and disrespected, and then when you go back to your people, how do you face them? Being the leader of a nation, I imagine, can be difficult in making those type of decisions, like being able to stand up for yourself and how that might look in front of people. Like if Donald Trump or whoever was saying something about Zelensky, what is the response? Like, oh, okay, sorry, sir, my bad. You're right.
I think you have to keep the result in mind because like you can't bully your way into getting somebody to support you because as Donald Trump said he did not have the cards, and that's actually factual. You see what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? So at a certain point I'm going to think, okay, this is bigger than my pride. This is bigger than my country's pride. Our freedom is on the line, and sometimes
Nah,
you got to take that L.
yeah, I can only imagine how he, like you said, it kind of came out of what to him it came out of nowhere. To Zelensky it came left field, and how he wishes he did handle it, how he thinks he might, I don't know, but there is now a question as to whether or not the same amount of support will be there for Ukraine, right? And how that will affect, I mean, shoot, you talking millions of people, right?
Hmm.
And yeah, it is interesting that at the end of the day, it is humans who have emotions just like me and you that have to make these decisions that will affect so many people. Bro. And you're
Right.
talking, like you said, an argument about,
Mhm. So,
yeah,
so how do you feel like? Do you feel like this could affect the U.S. economy in a negative way, or do you feel like this could be been a? And I hate to say that, but you know, the U.S. and Ukraine definitely different countries. Do you feel like the U.S. would benefit from ending support with Ukraine? Well, in supporting Ukraine,
yeah. I mean, that there's no way to really tell because if, let's say, money does stop flowing to Ukraine, what happens to Ukraine? What happens to those people? And then how does that affect the outward perspective that the world has on the US? Like, well, I don't know how that will affect it. And then also, what happens to the money that we were using to support Ukraine? Where does it go? Does it go back into the US economy? Does it flow back into us? Does it go somewhere else? There's no telling what would happen, right? And what type of negative or positive effects would happen. Yeah. I mean, it seems like we're about to see, but there's no, I mean, we don't even know if they're going to stop supporting or if they will reduce the support or what will happen. It's too up in the air. It's too early to tell. But yeah, what about you? Do you think that the ceasing of support will benefit the U.S. people more or the individuals in the U.S.?
when I was watching, you know, as Biden was shipping more and more money out to Ukraine, I saw a lot of negative sentiment when it came to that because people were alluding to the fact that we have our own issues. So I think that it would give people more confidence here that we're worried about our own problems. I do think that that's unfortunate for Ukraine, and I kind of think that this was like a bait. It seems like this was done on purpose in order to bait him because it was televised. You see what I'm saying? It was recorded.
Yeah.
Why out of all conversations was this one? And then you get all that banter. I don't know, but you know,
This could have definitely happened in private. So I feel
right,
you. It was a public showcase of a disagreement between the U.S. and Ukraine, which gives Trump his fuel to say, "Well, we're not gonna help you no more."
right. But you know, hey, to be continued. But
Yeah,
there's a lot. Yeah. So that, as you said earlier, there's a lot going on, but also something unexpected happened with student loans. So as we all know, student loans has not the IDR, the income driven repayment plan, has not been canceled, but they removed the form from the website to apply for it. So why is this being blocked and what happens next with that? Will people not be able to apply for student loans? Is this a temporary thing? Is the site under maintenance? Like what's going on with this? And if you applied right before this, will your application still be accepted? Because they're not saying that IDR, the income driven repayment plan is finished, but it's not there. So what's going on with that?
yeah, man. I think that is wild. If you just go to FAFSA or studentaid.gov, you will not be able to apply online for income-driven repayment. What they suggest is that you submit a paper loan application. So you would have to print something out, fill out the paperwork, and send it in the mail. Yeah, and I think this is just going to be one of those domino effects. But yeah, this is just another domino. We mentioned this a while ago on the show. We talked about how student loans are going to be affected. And we talked about how you have to make sure that you have your ducks in a row. Because if your income driven repayment expires and you aren't allowed to like submit for income driven repayment again, you're gonna have a new bill that you were not expecting, and it's gonna be a lot heavier than what you were paying.
For sure.
However long it's been, right? Some people haven't really been paying their full student loan since 2020 because of the automatic deferment that they put in, and it just never like went back. So for some people, this is about to be a new bill. And depending on how much you have in student loans, it could be pretty heavy.
All right. So I feel like that would be crushing because now it's not, your payment is not based off of your income. And there are people with 100,000, 200,000 in student loans. So what is that payment going to look like?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? You might have a
Yeah.
payment that's more than your mortgage or your rent.
Right.
People,
Right.
yeah. So I just don't know what that looks like or what he's trying to do because that's going to put a lot of people, because a lot of people can't just pay off their student loan.
Yeah.
And a lot of people
Yeah.
have student repayment plan, repay. Some people have payments that are $0 because they don't make enough. So what happens to them? They're making less than 30,000 and they gotta pay, now they gotta pay $500 a month in student loans. How does that work?
That's when the next domino hits, bro. It's like, all right, you can't do your application online. You got to submit a paper application. You submit a paper application. You didn't check this box. Submit it again. And this is 2 weeks after they received it because it's in the mail. You know what I'm saying? No, you got to submit it again because you didn't check a box. And then 3 weeks later, now a month has went by, and now you got one less month to figure out how you're gonna do your student loans. And I'm telling you, man, like them removing the ability to make it convenient and do it online, bro. It is bro. This is step one. I imagine this is step one, and we will see what happens after this. This is another to be continued because this happened as of what, Friday? Did this happen last week? It was recent that it happened. It was recent, but either way, it is now just something that you all need to have on your radar and make sure that you're paying attention to. Um, if you are under the income driven repayment plan, because this could, I mean, it's already affecting you, right? So, yeah.
All right.
The last thing that we want to talk about, we got to dive into the financial aspect. This is Investors Playbook, and we cannot end an episode unless we talk about stocks, crypto, trading, some form. This just goes to show you how powerful a tweet or a post can be. So, Bitcoin, as of March 2nd, was at the start of March 2nd, was at $85,000 roughly, somewhere around there. Trump tweeted, and I'm gonna read his tweet verbatim, just so we get some context. A U.S. crypto reserve will elevate this critical industry after years of corrupt attacks by the Biden administration, which is why my executive order on digital assets directed the President Working Group to move forward on a crypto strategic reserve that includes XRP, that's Ripple, SOL, that's Solana, and ADA, that's Cardano. I will make sure the U.S. is the crypto capital of the world. We are making it, unquote. That was Donald Trump saying that. 1 minute later, literally, he tweeted that at 10:24 a.m. on March 2nd. 1 minute later, Bitcoin went from 85,000 to 88,000. Well, like 10, 20 minutes later. By 11:30, Bitcoin was up above $90,000. So in an hour's time, roughly, Bitcoin went up about $6,000. Ripple followed the same. It was around $2.20. Now it's at $2. After that, it was at $2.40. So this just goes to show you, man, like the effect that individuals can have on this market. Yeah, and the sentiment. We already knew Donald Trump was pro Bitcoin, pro cryptocurrency. He just doubled down on it with this message, this post. So, what are your thoughts, man? I know you kind of feeling it in a good way with Bitcoin kind of shooting back up.
Yeah. I'm in Bitcoin for the long run, so I'm not really worried about what's going on short term. If when it drops down, comes back up 6,000, I'm looking for what Bitcoin's going to be 5 years from now after the next Bitcoin halving. You see what I'm saying? Because we all know how Bitcoin is. We all know how Bitcoin is. Like what it's going to do is going to be a lot of volatility. So I'm not. I'm more in it for the long term because everybody's looking at Bitcoin as an investment, and it's not. It like basically it's a solution. It's a solution to inflation. So I'm looking for the when the world adopts Bitcoin and we don't have to worry about people just printing more of currency and they're devaluing everyone's time that's working for money. Because as we all know, you can't make more Bitcoin. So this it creates more integrity in our currency. So we'll see what happens.
Nah, for sure. People definitely have a.
I was gonna say,
What you
where do
about to
you
say?
stand on Bitcoin? I don't think I've ever asked you that.
No, I think Bitcoin is an amazing asset to own, bro. I didn't fully understand the battle of inflation because, to be completely honest with you, Bitcoin still being priced at a dollar value. I think that's where I'm getting confused at how, if Bitcoin wasn't given the value of a dollar, like let's just say the dollar goes away, what do we then value? Do we value Bitcoin at Bitcoin? How does
Yes.
that? I have
Same
this.
way
Okay,
same way we value a dollar. How do we value a dollar? It's always a dollar to us,
right. That's true.
even though it
That's
does
true.
fluctuate in value.
It would make more sense. I mean, it would make more sense. Well, I guess to me, once because people are already purchasing things with Bitcoin, right? Like
Yes.
Bitcoin is already used to complete transactions, and that is where I think that yeah, that makes the most sense to me. When we're not saying, well, Bitcoin is worth this much in dollars. It's like, well, no, I'm giving you this much Bitcoin for this asset. Like this car is worth this much Bitcoin, not this car is worth $50,000 that equals to this much Bitcoin.
But I think because it's not fully integrated into a
Yeah,
society, that's why we're doing that. Because I doubt that people in China are comparing Bitcoin to the US dollar.
right, right,
They're probably
exactly.
doing it
You're
with
right.
their currency. You see what I'm saying? I think that we're the only ones that do that because that's our currency.
Yeah, no, you're right. But no, as far as just my overall stance on Bitcoin and just on cryptocurrency in general, I think that it is an indefinite future, bro. Like there will definitely be a massive. I mean, bro, and it might just be the fact that I have played so many video games, watched so many sci-fi movies. Like the future of payment, it goes away from just the old form of money. Whether it's someone saying, all right, well, this is going to be in units or it's going to be in whatever. Like I can imagine and see the US saying, well, this is in, well, you don't have enough Ripple to buy this. Or like, I can imagine that, right? Like I can see a world where that becomes the de facto currency. And because it's not solely based on any individual country, right?
Hmm.
Like we want to have a crypto vault, but we don't own cryptocurrency. Like the United States of America does not own Bitcoin, right? We're not the creators. We can't manipulate it. It is a worldwide thing. So that is where I think I do see a future where like everyone adopts this as their way moving forward, and not just Bitcoin. Maybe there's room for other cryptocurrencies, but I think that Bitcoin, of course, will stand on top. Yeah. So I don't know where or when that will happen, but yeah, I definitely think that Bitcoin is a long term asset that everyone should hold. If not Bitcoin, I mean, I say Bitcoin being the number one, but some type of cryptocurrency that's not just like a meme coin that comes in. Like I had mentioned I forgot the exact number, but the ISO cryptocurrencies. It was like 9 of them that the government is adopting as part of their security framework for crypto transactions. I had mentioned it on the episode before, but stuff like that. I think those are the things that people need to pay attention to and start purchasing and grabbing assets of. Because yeah, the dollar is just starting to get slack, not just from the individuals who supported Bitcoin in the beginning, but now the government is seeing the benefit of this and they're also adopting cryptocurrency. Yeah.
And right there, I feel like should be a clear indicator to get some Bitcoin. When you see countries buying
Yeah.
in and you're still sitting there just on the sidelines, just watching that happen, just watching that thing happen. My apologies. That is crazy to me. Like, where is your head? I will never understand that. But yeah, in my opinion, the reward far exceeds the risk when it comes to buying Bitcoin. We've seen it over the past 10 years. Just look how Bitcoin has been moving. It's outperforming almost anything that you've seen. So let's be a little more active when it comes to building wealth. And yeah, let's see what happens.
Yep. That's probably a question we should poll. I mean, I imagine the answer would be kind of similar across the board. They don't trust it. They don't, they don't understand it. I imagine that would be the response that we get. Like, well, why don't you want to invest in cryptocurrency? Because it doesn't make sense. Because I'm worried that I'll lose my money. Because a lot of people are comparing investing in cryptocurrency like investing in stocks. And I can't really say that that's the same thing. Investing in Bitcoin, you're not investing in a company. You know what I mean? Like, you are you're using you're almost doing like an exchange. It's almost like getting a currency exchange. You're putting dollars in and getting this value or this currency. Yeah. So when people are trading Bitcoin, it's more like Forex, if anything, than trading stocks. I don't know. Yeah. But all right, man.
Make sure y'all join the Facebook group. We want to have a lot of insightful conversations in there, and also continue to watch podcasts. Please share it. Please like it. It helps us push our content further. And yeah, also follow us on IG.
Yeah, man. That's it. Hit
That's
us
it.
up on these social media platforms, man. We want to hear from you all. So looking forward to seeing y'all next week. Another episode in the books. We'll catch y'all later. Peace out.